Hi and welcome to the 12 Volt Shed. My name's Jason Marshall and today I'm doing a little interview with a man who travels Australia in a Kedron with a 100 series. He lives out of the van and he goes to some pretty remote locations. The thing I'm interested to talk to Steve Phillips today about is some of his experiences and some of the things that he would recommend that people might include when setting up a van for free camping and travelling off the grid. So, g'day Steve.
How are you, Josh?
Good mate, good to see you again. Steve and I are great mates, we go way back as mechanics. Steve, you made the choice at some point to sell the house, buy a van, and got a beautiful Kedron and travel the country. So tell us some of the things that you would put on your top list to have in a van set up for Australia-wide travel.
We try to free camp as often as we can, so the one thing that I think everyone needs would be a decent battery monitor.
Yep, absolutely.
There's quite a few brands out there, but a good quality one that can tell you everything that's going in and everything going out through a shunt.
What do you use?
I use a Victron BMV 712
Yep.
with the Bluetooth. And I like my gadgets, and I like the fact that I can just lie in bed and see what's going on my screen without getting up looking at the gauges. Perfect for people that don't have anywhere to put a gauge and it can just go in the cupboard.
Yep.
And they can read the stuff off their phone. But
So it's got an iPhone interface. The 712 from Victron can be Bluetoothed, and you can log and see what your voltages are straight from the phone.
Once it's calibrated to the battery size you've got, what goes in and what comes out, it doesn't lie. It's what it is. So that's what I like about it.
And do you live off solar a lot? I mean,
Yeah, we've got 600 watts of solar with the ability to plug in portable panels as well.
yep. I see you got the
so
TriStar. Have you had that long? Or?
Yeah, we've had that for about a year. We were using the Red Arc BCDC 40 with the MPPT through it,
Yep.
but we went a standalone TriStar controller,
Yep.
just so it can do its own thing. We can have it talking to, sending us emails if things go wrong or whatever. If something goes wrong with the other one, you've lost two. This way,
You've got an independent system.
Yes,
That's a
if
good
that makes
point
sense.
Steve raises. There's a lot of products on the market that everything's in the one box, and when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're free camping, if that unit fails, your redundancy is not there. So as Steve says, by separating the DC-DC charger and a separate solar reg, he's got power all the time from solar, and then the DC-DC when the vehicle's running. So yeah, that's a great point. How do you find the efficiency of the TriStar? Was it a good thing? Or was it
I did a fair bit of research before I bought it, and it was up there to me as one of the better ones.
Yep.
So we bought the 60 amp. At the moment, we only need 40, but there's provision to put more panels on the roof later if we need to, or add to it off the car or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm really impressed with it. It does what it needs to do. The monitor's inside in the van, so I can just see what goes on. It records, well, it doesn't record, it logs data for 60 days.
Yep.
So I can see what's going on. It's got high voltage alarms, low voltage alarms. And I can program it on the laptop and put in like a winter setting, a summer setting, like algorithms,
Yep.
things like that. So
And do you find that you have to get the Jenny out every now and then? Do you find that most days you're able to live off that? That's a fair bit of solar.
no, we got a Jenny in here, and honestly, we've used it once in anger.
Is that right?
So it really doesn't get used. It was a stinking hot day crossing the Nullarbor, and we wanted the air conditioner on.
Yeah.
So really, we've carted it around the country and not used it. But if I take it out,
Yeah.
there'll be a time when I need it for something. So it just lives in there and does nothing really.
So I see you've got a Sterling Pro Charge.
Yeah, we've got a 60
I think
amp.
it's a 60 amp.
Bit of 60 amp Sterling.
Why the Sterling? Why did you?
I like the fact that it's sort of marine grade, so it's if something gets in there and gets on the board's coated, it's protected from geckos or whatever. But I can do lots of different things with it.
Yep.
So
So it's got custom settings.
it's got
and-
lots of custom settings. It's got, it just suits my need. Once again, I've done a lot of research, and it was one of the better ones, and I just want to spend the money, put it in once and be done with it.
Yeah, there's that old saying, the poor pay twice. You'll hear me say that a lot. One of the things I really like about the Sterling Pro Charge Ultra It's got really good power factor correction, and it's got a really wide input from 90 volts right through to 260, 270. So what that means is when you pull up at a caravan park in the middle of nowhere and there's a dirty old pole generator running up in a shed somewhere up the back on a pedestal that's 50 years old with no maintenance, you might even be getting 95 volts out of that pedestal. This charger can take that power, make the most of it, and charge those batteries. So being a marine charger, it's designed to pull into any port in the world and make use of that power. So there's clamps on all of the cables. They're just a good, sturdy, robust unit. So
And one of the other things I like too is it's a 60 amp charger to charge my 300 amp hour battery pack. But if I wanted to charge a small 50 amp hour battery, I can make that
you can turn
half,
it down.
3/4, a quarter. So I can
Right.
turn it down. And the lowest setting on that is 15. It does a 30, a 45 and a 60.
And I see you've got an Anderson plug that you've got coming out of that. You obviously plug other, that's
Yeah,
what you
so
do.
I can just plug that with a lead. I can just plug the
Charge
car
it.
battery
Yep.
if I want to charge the car battery.
That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. That's very clever. And you've got a e-power inverter, so obviously the inverter powers microwave and what?
Yep. So what I do
240
there
you
is
use?
when we free camp, we've pretty much set up now that we had gas cooking equipment and we had 240 cooking equipment. It was just extra weight dragging around.
Yeah.
So we put a 2600 watt drive inverter in.
Yeah.
And now we pretty much just use that when we're away. So we've got an inverter, an induction cooktop.
Yeah.
And we can turn that down to 900 watts, 1500 watts or 2000 watts.
Yeah.
So we whack it on 900 watts, cook our meals on that,
Yeah.
and it'll boil water in less than 3 minutes.
Is that right?
So we use that,
Wow.
it powers the microwave. You want to stop for lunch, put a pie in the microwave, and we just want it easy.
All right. And the big question, that's obviously going to be pulling a bit of power. So the big question is, what batteries are you running in this setup at the moment?
When I bought the van originally, it had two 120 amp hour AGMs. I upgraded it. I put another one in, so we ended up with 3. And then I had, now I run 3 EVF J80 lead crystal batteries at the moment.
Which would explain the 60 amp charger being a bit bigger,
Yep.
because they have got that larger charge requirement.
So each battery needs 20 amps to charge. So I've got my 60 amp charger and it charges at no worries at all.
Strengths and weaknesses of the lead crystal. A lot of people out there, I mean, we both worked for lead crystal for a fair amount of time, so you can call us a little biased, but in terms of living in it and using it, strengths and weaknesses of lead crystal?
Charges quick.
Yep.
Takes a load longer and better before it drops off. But I haven't really, they've been in there a year,
Yeah.
but I haven't punished them enough.
Okay.
But they certainly do a better job than the AGMs, that's
So
for
we'll
sure.
come and see you in about 4 years' time when the van's got a few more push pinstripes on it and see how the batteries are going. Is there anything else you'd say, like if you were building a brand new van now, today, and said, must have, got to have in it, obviously the volt amp meter?
The volt amp meter is, to me, is the number one on the list, but a lot of vans are built with just the basics, and probably 90% of them wouldn't go out of caravan parks, but
Yeah.
you really,
Fair comment.
you really need to have decent stuff in them.
Yeah.
I've converted a lot over to, quality wiring and quality equipment, because people are seeing a solar rig that shows battery voltage, doesn't actually show what's coming out of their van. They see what's coming in and they think everything's fine, and 8:30 at night the batteries are flat, they're going to bed.
Yeah.
You want to know, if you used 50 amp hours last night, you want to know that you can probably need to put 60 back in,
Correct. Yeah.
where you had no idea what's going on. So if you put the good gear in and just buy the best stuff you can afford, I'd say,
Yeah. That's
And-
good advice.
hopefully happy days.
All right, well, look, Steve, thanks for your time and thanks for sharing that with us. We'll do a couple more vids because I know on your vehicle in particular, there's a few things that I really would like to share with people. You're a great mechanic. You've been working in Weeper, you've been out there and done it, so and you're a heck of a bloke. So thanks for your time and thanks for watching. And some of the things we've talked about today, the volt and amp meters, we'll do separate videos on. So drop back frequently and you'll see some more. Thanks for your time today.